So the next piece in the program, this is not an obscure piece. So why am I playing it on my program of obscure music? Well, I really wanted to play it last summer, and there were two problems. One was that it didn't quite fit on that program. And the other problem was it was a little too hard. And when I say it's a little too hard, this piece, this Rachmaninoff Etude, is harder than the entire rest of this program combined. In addition, you know how I did Rhapsody in Blue recently with the Sag Harbor Community Band? This is way harder than that. Not even close. And what is this? So this is Rachmaninoff, and it is an Etude-Tableau. So, you know this? That's a scale. And you've probably also heard, like, those are etudes. An etude is like a study. You don't play it for an audience. You play it to make yourself better, and they tend to be really boring. And then, of course, Chopin comes along, and he writes etudes that are actual music. And people play them to this day. And Liszt wrote etudes, and Scriabin wrote etudes, and Debussy wrote etudes. And Rachmaninoff's take on this was Etude-Tableau. So it's not just studies, but study pictures. And why is this piece so difficult? Well, because now I'm a large person with large hands, but Rachmaninoff was a larger person with way larger hands. He could play this chord, and he could put his thumb here, okay? And he wrote this music for him to play, so the left hand at the beginning has to go. And if you're a normal person, that's really hard to do. If you have Rachmaninoff's hands, that's a lot easier. Also, Emily, you remember about 4-part voice writing and parallel fifths and how you can't do that? Rachmaninoff knew that, and he was like, I'm going to do it anyway. So this piece starts. That's how the melody starts, okay? And anybody who knows that rule about you can't do parallel fifths is going to be, oh, you can't do that. And he's like, screw that. I'm going to do it anyway. And the other irony with this piece is, so he wrote this set of etudes. There were 9 etudes that he wrote, Opus 39, and he published it in 1917. And at the time, he was living in Russia, making his living as a composer and as a conductor. And he was a member of the nobility. And what happened later in 1917? The communists took power in Russia, and they stole all of his land and his money, and he left. And he was married with kids, and he came to America. And all of a sudden, you know, he's 44 years old, and he has no money. He comes to America, and he can't make a living as a composer or a conductor. And he's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to become a concert pianist. And he's now thought of as one of the greatest pianists of the 20th century. So, kids, don't give up on your dreams just because you're 44 years old and have to leave your homeland. And this piece is so difficult that I would like to ask Emily to turn pages for me, because my hands are busy playing and I can't turn the pages. I know, you didn't know that you'd be called upon for special work tonight, did you? No. And this is Rachmaninoff is not an obscure composer, but this piece nobody plays because it doesn't look that hard. There are other pieces on this program that look harder than this piece, but this is mind-numbingly difficult, and it doesn't look that way, but I hope you like it. Here's the Etude-Tableau in D minor. We're being put on the spot. Really appreciate it.